According to our analytics, the majority of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed, so make sure to subscribe right now with post notifications on for more TNA videos and just videos looking at the worst of wrestling. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Thompson Wrestling for updates on these videos. What's going on, guys? This is Thompson Wrestling. I'm here today with another TNA video talking about some of the worst stuff of TNA. It's not a worst of TNA episode, and it's obviously not my documentary either. This is a top 5 video. Part 3 of my documentary series is coming soon. Don't you worry. It'll be out this weekend most likely. I'm currently just researching and writing the script. But it's coming. Don't you worry. I just tried to record this, but it all went wrong. So I'm re-recording again, which is very annoying. But we're here anyway. And today, we're going to be looking at the 5 worst TNA/Impact/GFW, yes, there's one of them on this list, world champions of all time. As long as TNA has been around, there has always been one world title, meaning whoever holds the title is essentially being positioned as the biggest star in the company. The likes of Jeff Hardy, Sting, EC3, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe and Bully Ray have all won the world titles, and it is very fitting that they won the world titles and were the top stars, because they had the ability and potential to be the top stars, and them winning the world title was reflective of their status on the roster that they already had. The 5 people on this list that we are discussing had no business being world champion or just had really bad reigns, so let's begin. Coming in at number 5, we have Chris Sabin. Now, here's the thing with Chris Sabin. He is an unbelievably talented wrestler. And in TNA up until that point, he had been killing it in the X division and was a multi-time champion there, and he was killing it in the tag division along with Alex Shelley as the Motor City Machine Guns and one of the biggest teams outside of WWE. Chris Sabin, quite frankly, had the talent to be world champion, but his reign really just didn't work out whatsoever. Sabin had just returned from a torn ACL injury and came out on top in a feud with Austin Aries over the X Division title, where he won the belt for a record-breaking 6th time. Chris Sabin would invoke Plan C and vacate the title in exchange for a world title shot against Bully Ray. Chris Sabin would go on to win and come out on top against Bully Ray at Destination X to win the world title in a match that saw lots of interference from Aces and Eights, our favourite stable. Thing is, Sabin winning the title made a lot of sense. He had just returned from an injury, so him winning the title could be seen as an inspirational comeback story and could be portrayed as such. He definitely had the talent to be a world champion. He was on the roster for a long time and hadn't won it before, and by this point, Aces and Eights had really run its course, and this could have been used to end Aces and Eights, but no. Bully Ray would win back the title less than a month later at Hardcore Justice. Aces and Eights would disband 3 months later, which is 3 months later than they should have disbanded, and Chris Sabin went back to the X Division to not win the world title ever again in TNA. In at number 4, we have Eric Young. Now, Eric Young is a very decorated champion in TNA, but later on in his TNA career, he kind of became a comedy character. You know, he was a Knockouts Tag Champion with ODB, which is an entire topic that I need to discuss for a Worst of TNA episode, so stay tuned for that. And he was even the TNA World Beer Drinking Champion, which is a title I have no knowledge of until I did the research for this video. He had a very weird and mixed career in TNA, even including a tag title reign with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, which is so unbelievably random. On the April 10th, 2014 episode of Impact, Eric Young defeated Magnus to win the world title, and this was completely out of nowhere, and it was very apparent why TNA gave Eric Young the world title, because just 4 days before this was WrestleMania 30, the same show where another smaller wrestler with a beard won the world title. It was clear as day that Eric Young won the title pretty much just because Daniel Bryan won the world title in WWE. And hey, maybe it would have worked if Eric Young had been a serious character up until that point, but the fact is, his team with ODB was still fresh in people's minds, and him winning the title was seriously out of left field, and people just couldn't buy into it because of the fact that he was a comedic character, and all of a sudden he won the title, and oh yeah, I'm a serious person now. Number 3, Magnus. Next up is the guy that Eric Young beat for the title. Magnus was entered into a TNA World Title Tournament for the vacated title on November 21st, 2013. He defeated Samoa Joe in a Falls Count Anywhere match at Turning Point and Kurt Angle on an episode of Impact to advance to the finals, where he faced Jeff Hardy in a Dixieland match, which, my god, what an awful match stipulation Dixieland is. And he would win the match. And like with Eric Young, this world title win was kinda out of left field, but supposedly backstage Dixie Carter really liked Magnus and wanted to make him the chosen one. And on TV, Dixie Carter branded him as the chosen one, which completely correlated with the real life behind the scenes situation and circumstances behind Magnus winning the title. Magnus failed to have any real standout performances or defenses of the title, and he would go on to lose the title to Eric Young, who in fairness wasn't much better of a champion, was he? He has since moved on from TNA and now wrestles in the NWA as Nick Aldis, where I gotta say, he is absolutely killing it right now. He had that great match with Cody at All In that you might remember, and is currently the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, and if he returned to Impact, he could easily be the World Champion there. Number 2 is Mick Foley? What? Yeah, that's right. Mick Foley was TNA World Champion. Mick Foley debuted in TNA in 2008 and was established as a non-wrestler role and the kayfabe co-owner of TNA Wrestling, which was the right way to use him because he shouldn't be wrestling in the ring, but he still has name power, so use him as a non-wrestler role, right? No. Foley had his first match in TNA when he, Devon and AJ Styles defeated Booker T, Q-Kip and Scott Steiner at Genesis that year. Foley would be the one to score the pinfall, and this was the right way to use Foley if he was going to wrestle. Have him wrestle occasionally and in multi-man tag matches to protect him. But nope, on April 19th, 2009, Foley won the TNA World Championship from Sting. Foley should not be having wrestling matches. He shouldn't be in wrestling one-on-one matches, let alone world title matches, and winning them no less. He would lose the title 2 months later to Kurt Angle at Slammiversary in a King of the Mountain match, also involving Samoa Joe, AJ Styles and Jeff Jarrett. What a random match. Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Jarrett versus Mick Foley for a world title in 2008. Okay, boomer. And number 1 is Alberto Del Rio, or as he was in Impact, Alberto El Patron. El Patron was positioned as the guy to be the top star of TNA when they merged with Global Force Wrestling, aka GFW. Alberto's first reign of the Impact World title took place on March 2nd, 2017, literally his first night in Impact. He won it from Bobby Lashley, however, he relinquished the title literally the next night, so what really was the point? So that was his first reign, 1 day long. On the May 11th episode of Impact, he defeated Magnus to win the GFW Global Championship and would go on to face Lashley for the TNA World title in a unification match at Slammiversary, which he won, thus unifying the titles and positioning Del Rio as the top star of GFW/Impact. To this day, we still don't really know what it was called. However, on July 12th, Del Rio was suspended by GFW due to a real-life domestic incident involving his then-girlfriend, WWE Women's Wrestler Paige. As a result of the suspension, he was stripped of the title, ending his reign at 40 days. And the rest of Del Rio's time in TNA was pretty lackluster anyway. He never really won any titles, and he was released from TNA in April 2018 due to no showing the Lucha Underground vs Impact event. I've also realized I've kept on calling it TNA when at this period it's just Impact, so ignore that. Del Rio was not the right guy to be positioned as the top guy in this time for the company. He was unreliable in terms of showing up to shows and very problematic behind the scenes, and I think there's a reason why no major company has really signed him since. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy, smack the like button. Like I said at the start of the video, a lot of people who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed. So be sure to subscribe, notifications on, and follow me on Twitter at Top 10 Wrestling. You'll be the first to know when videos are coming out, and you'll be the first to see those videos. So do both those things. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe with post notifications on. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, smack the like button. I can't speak. Leave a comment telling me what you thought and who you think is the worst TNA World Champion. I'll see you all in the next video. Follow me on Twitter at Top 10 Wrestling. My Instagram is at I'mTomBell. Goodbye, guys, and keep on rolling.